As we go deeper, an important realization begins to emerge. Not every product, service, or offering is designed to serve all values at all levels, and that is by design, not by limitation. Every product or service naturally occupies a value zone, spanning a specific range of value establishment milestones based on its nature, intent, and design. Some are meant to reliably satisfy foundational needs. Others are crafted to support growth, identity, or purpose. In parallel, users themselves occupy value zones at any given point in time, shaped by their socioeconomic context, life stage, and aspirations. Value is created most powerfully where these zones overlap. When what an offering is designed to establish aligns with what a user is ready to value, a genuine win-win emerges. In this part, we will explore how these value zones form, how they can be recognized, and how understanding their overlap becomes a critical lens for designing, choosing, and evolving meaningful products, services, and experiences. Let's make this idea of value zones tangible with an example most of us intuitively understand: luxury cars. A luxury car is not just a more expensive version of a regular car. It belongs to a different value zone, one that spans multiple layers of value establishment. Start with Layer 2, Safety and Security. At this level, safety is not optional, it's assumed. Buyers expect the highest standards of engineering, advanced safety systems, reliability under extreme conditions, and strong protection mechanisms such as warranties, service guarantees, and insurance support. If a luxury brand fails here, the value proposition collapses immediately. Now move to Layer 3, Connection and Belonging. Luxury car brands don't just sell vehicles, they cultivate communities. Owners expect exclusive clubs, curated experiences, brand-hosted events, and direct engagement. The brand recognizes the owner, listens to feedback, and creates a sense of belonging among people who share similar passions, tastes, and aspirations. Then comes Layer 4, Esteem and Self-Image. This is where luxury becomes truly visible. The car enhances the owner's social image. It communicates identity, taste, and accomplishment. The branding, design, and experience deliver a deep sense of satisfaction, not just in driving the car, but in owning it. Notice what's equally important. Luxury cars don't primarily compete in Layer 1, availability or cost optimization. Scarcity is often intentional. Cost stability is secondary to experience. And while Layer 5, self-actualization, may be touched indirectly, it's not the core value zone. This clarity is powerful. It shows us that value is not about maximizing everything. It's about aligning the right layers with the right audience. Let's now apply the same lens to something far more utilitarian, yet deeply critical: antivirus and anti-malware software. Unlike luxury products, the value of security software is rarely about visibility or status. Its value zone sits much closer to necessity, and that shapes both expectations and design. Start with Layer 1, availability, quality, and cost stability. At this level, users expect the software to be easily available, simple to install, and consistently functional. Pricing needs to be stable and predictable, with reasonable acquisition and renewal costs. Many brands even offer promotions or tiered pricing to optimize cost without compromising access. If availability or performance falters here, trust erodes quickly. Move next to Layer 2, Safety, Reliability, and Protection. This is the core. Here, the questions are uncompromising. Does it actually protect me? Can I depend on it? Will it respond when a threat appears? Users expect adherence to the highest security standards, frequent updates against emerging threats, dependable detection, and strong assurance mechanisms. This layer defines the credibility of the brand. Failure here negates all other value. Then comes Layer 3, Connection, Support, and Community. As threats grow more complex, users value more than software. They value guidance. Brands establish user forums, knowledge bases, active support channels, and expert communities that share insights about vulnerabilities, best practices, and recovery steps. This creates confidence and a sense of collective resilience. Now notice what is not central to this value zone. Antivirus software does not primarily compete in Layer 4, endorsement, or self-image. No one installs security software to enhance social recognition. And while Layer 5, growth or purpose, may be indirectly enabled through secure digital work, it is not the core promise. This makes the value zone clear. Antivirus and anti-malware solutions succeed when they span layers 1 through 3 effectively. Availability and affordability, uncompromising safety, and strong user support. Let's now look at an example where value is not optional, emotional, or aspirational, but essential: medicines. When it comes to medicines, the value zone is deliberately narrow and uncompromising. It sits primarily across Layer 1 and Layer 2, and for good reason. Start with Layer 1. Availability, quality, and cost stability. For a medicine to have value, it must be available when needed, often urgently. Its quality must meet strict regulatory standards, batch after batch. Costs must be predictable and, as far as possible, affordable, sometimes supported through generics, subsidies, or promotional pricing to reduce the burden on patients. Here, value is about access, consistency, and sustainability. Then comes Layer 2, safety, reliability, and protection, the non-negotiable core. Medicines are judged first and foremost on safety. Users expect rigorous clinical testing, regulatory compliance, clear usage guidelines, and dependable outcomes. They also expect assurance, mechanisms to manage side effects, recalls, and adverse events when they occur. If safety or reliability is compromised, no other form of value can compensate. Now notice something important. Medicines do not compete in Layer 3 through community or belonging. They do not aim to enhance Layer 4, identity, endorsement, or social image. And while recovery may enable Layer 5, growth or purpose, that is an indirect outcome, not the value promise itself. This clarity is intentional. Value must be focused, disciplined, and protected from dilution. Let's now take this one step deeper by looking not just at the value zone of medicines, but also at the value zone of the receiver. Medicines, by their very nature, occupy a focused value zone, primarily spanning Layer 1 and Layer 2. At Layer 1, medicines must be available when needed, meet regulated quality standards, and remain affordable over time. At Layer 2, they must be safe, reliable, dependable, and backed by assurance mechanisms. That is the provider's value commitment. But value is never established in isolation. It is completed only when it meets the receiver's value priorities. From the receiver's perspective, value is shaped by real-life constraints. A patient managing a chronic condition, for example, places high priority on continuous availability, the confidence that the medicine will not suddenly disappear from shelves. They also value cost optimization mechanisms, generic alternatives, discounts, subscription refills, because treatment is not a one-time event, but a sustained journey. That is the receiver's emphasis at Layer 1. At Layer 2, the receiver's expectations become even more practical and personal. They look for longer validity or expiry durations, especially when medicines are purchased in advance. They expect consistent effectiveness, not surprises across batches. They value unused medicine return schemes, replacement policies, or safe disposal programs, because waste, uncertainty, and loss directly impact trust. Now notice what happens here. The medicine's value zone and the receiver's value zone overlap, but not perfectly. The receiver selectively amplifies certain value establishment factors within the same layers, and that overlap, where the provider's design meets the receiver's priorities, is where the win-win is created. When medicines are designed not just to meet regulatory requirements, but to align with how receivers actually live, manage risk, and sustain treatment, value stops being theoretical. It becomes felt, trusted, and relied upon. And that is the essence of value establishment. Not how many layers are covered, but how precisely value is delivered where it matters most. Let's now apply the same value zone lens to something most of us rely on every single day: antivirus and anti-malware software. Unlike medicines or luxury products, antivirus solutions typically operate across layer 1 to layer 3 of the value establishment milestones. At layer 1, the fundamentals must be rock solid. Users expect the software to be available whenever needed, install easily, and run reliably in the background. They care about continuous coverage, predictable renewal costs, and sensible pricing, often expecting discounts for longer subscriptions or multi-device use. In simple terms, protect me all the time without surprises in cost or effort. That's the baseline. At layer 2, expectations shift from presence to protection. Users want confidence that the software actually keeps them safe, not just today, but tomorrow. This means longer license validity, dependable detection, and most importantly, continuous updates that respond to emerging threats. When a new vulnerability appears, users expect the brand to guide them quietly, clearly, and proactively. This is where assurance matters. I don't want to think about threats. I want to know someone else already is. Then we move into layer 3, where value becomes collective rather than individual. Users begin to care about community intelligence, alerts about newly discovered vulnerabilities, shared learnings, and visibility into what other users are experiencing. Forums, dashboards, and advisories suddenly matter, not because users want to chat, but because collective awareness increases individual safety. Now, let's look at the receiver's value zone. A home user, a freelancer, and an enterprise IT admin all use antivirus software, but they prioritize value differently. Some emphasize cost optimization and uninterrupted coverage. Others prioritize rapid updates and expert guidance. Many value real-time community signals, knowing what's happening right now across the ecosystem. The real value is established where these priorities overlap with the product's value zone. When an antivirus solution aligns continuous protection, reliable assurance, and community-driven intelligence with what users actually care about, it stops being just software. It becomes a trusted digital guardian. And that is the power of understanding value zones, not just what a product offers, but how meaningfully it fits into the receiver's evolving world. Let's now turn our lens toward luxury cars and examine how value is established, not just by the product, but through the interaction between the brand and the receiver. At first glance, the value zone of a luxury car clearly spans layer 2 to layer 4. At layer 2, safety and protection are non-negotiable. Luxury car receivers expect rigorous safety evaluations at every maintenance cycle, uncompromising reliability, and continuous enhancement of protection and insurance schemes. The expectation here is not just compliance, but leadership. If I'm investing at this level, safety should never be a question. Moving into layer 3, value becomes experiential and relational. Receivers expect near real-time, on-ground support, concierge-level servicing, and proactive communication about best practices, upgrades, and new features. Equally important is the owner community, exclusive events, shared experiences, and a sense of belonging that reinforces, I'm not just owning a car, I'm part of a circle. At layer 4, luxury truly differentiates itself. Here, the receiver expects the brand to actively contribute to their self-image and social recognition through refined branding, curated promotions, and narratives that elevate the owner's identity. The car becomes a symbol, not merely a machine. Now comes the interesting question. Is there any expectation from layer 1? At first glance, one might say no, luxury buyers don't care about cost optimization. And largely, that's true. Aggressive discounts or price negotiations can actually erode perceived luxury value. But reality is more nuanced. Some receivers, especially first-time luxury buyers, globally mobile professionals, or fleet buyers, do care about cost predictability, ownership efficiency, and intelligent promotions. Not because they want the cheapest option, but because they value financial clarity and respect for their capital. In these cases, Layer 1 expectations appear subtly, not as discounts, but as transparent maintenance packages, loyalty benefits, upgrade paths instead of price cuts, value-preserving resale or buyback assurances. So, should luxury car providers consider Layer 1? Yes, but with restraint and design discipline. Layer 1 mechanisms should support confidence, not chase affordability. They must reinforce the higher layers, never compete with them. In essence, luxury brands win when they understand this balance. They don't sell cost savings, they sell assured worth. And that's the power of aligning value zones, not just with the product category, but with the psychology and priorities of the receiver. As we close this part of the articulation, one clarity should now feel unmistakable. Value is neither accidental nor universal. It is contextual, layered, and relational. Products and services are not meant to stretch endlessly across all value milestones. They are intentionally designed to establish value within specific zones. Likewise, users are not static recipients of value. They evolve, reprioritize, and shift their value expectations over time. Meaningful value emerges at the point of alignment, where the value zone of an offering intersects with the value readiness of its receiver. When this alignment is understood, choices become sharper, designs become more intentional, and trade-offs become clearer rather than confusing. This perspective allows us to move beyond surface-level comparisons and into deeper judgments of fit, relevance, and long-term worth, setting the foundation for more conscious creation, selection, and evolution of the products, services, and experiences that shape our lives.